What's going on, everyone? It's Jaronism, back again for another video. Today talking about the biggest deception that there is. In my opinion, it all kind of revolves around this one. And so I think it's time that the scientific priesthood gets called out. And it's pretty obvious that the journalists aren't going to do it. So, in steps me. I'll take care of it. I just can't take any more of these brain-dead followers and promoters and preachers of science acting like it is this ever-advancing, knowledge-increasing, superstition-shedding epoch or pinnacle of human intellect when it simply isn't. It's not even supposed to be. As an example, here's somebody I'm not very fond of. Let's listen to the great, powerful savior of all of us who brought science for us, Neil the douchebaggy Tyson, as he shows us all what science has become. Take it away, Neil.
Characteristic you value most in yourself.
I like, and I've worked hard at this, the ability to just speak something that is so fundamentally true that it's not subject to your opinion about what I just said. That gets
an absolute.
That gets right into the center of any conversation, and then I can walk out and let that be the it's not why you think that, but I think something else. Then why even have the conversation? Then there's an old saying: in the universe, there are the laws of physics, and everything else is opinion.
Everything else is opinion, huh? Well, I have an opinion. I think the world would be a better place if you fell out that window behind you. And I'm pretty sure that it would also match perfectly with the laws of physics. So, might be right up your alley. Let's define science real quick and see if he even understands it, since he can just walk out of any conversation and he can decide why even have the conversation. Oh boy. How about science? The intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Neil, when's the last experiment you did? I mean, besides the current test you're running to see how big your head can get. It is kind of funny, guys, when somebody is so hateful towards God, or the idea of God, that they just made themselves God. No one is impressed, Neil. Newsflash. Shut the hell up. I don't care what you think of the new Pluto fake pictures. I don't care what you think of the new Earth fake pictures. I don't care what you think about anything. So, just trying to point out here what you've done to science by giving yourself a get out of jail free card. Whatever you say is right, Neil. How dare I question you? So many of you have heard me talk about Tommaso Campanella before. Awesome writer, and he went by what he saw, and he thought great things, and he actually paid for his opinion, paid dearly, 27 years of jail and torture on behalf of the Catholic Church. And he said, even at the end of it all, that to go through life we need two books: the Book of Life and the Bible. Now, even he was smart enough to understand that the Bible has been changed, it's been altered, it's been mistranslated, it's also allegorical. So lots of reasons that one shouldn't take it as the Word of God. I understand many of you do, and that's up to you each individually. To me, I just don't see God as giving us a book when he knows that some pretty stinky human hands have been all over it. I do remind you, as always, don't trust me. Please don't trust me. Because I can't stress enough that you guys should be out there looking and testing and researching, and that's how we find the truth. I mean, listen to everything, take every single thing in, and then put it through your personal filter. I mean, I'm a big believer in freedom, and definitely freedom of religion. Whatever you want to worship or believe in is up to you. A lot of people ask me my stance on the Bible, and it's simply that I believe it to be inspired, but no more than if I felt that I had a little conversation with God and decided to sit down and write it out. Does it mean I should write a book for everyone to read? Probably not, because I'm human and I'm going to make mistakes, and I think they did. And I think that the God that they describe is not the God that is the creator. I think they made mistakes, and I believe they had a tendency to give God very human qualities that I myself don't apply to the creator of this world. And so, just a reminder, and again, these are my words, my thoughts, and I'm willing to deal with the outcome of my beliefs. And so that's why I speak out. I mean, human thought always grows, and it builds upon its past. And the idea of a scientific revolution, or whatever they want to call what happened between the 1600s and 1700s, is wrong. It's not a scientific revolution at all. It is in no way scientific. People that everyone talks about, Galileo and Newton and Copernicus and all these others, they in no way were scientific. Copernicus and Galileo had no proof of what they were talking about. Newton had a thought experiment. No proof. And more than half the population at that time was illiterate. So this was more a change in the way of humanity, or a change in the way that humanity saw itself. So of course it wasn't a scientific revolution. It was just their four go-to guys who allowed them to bring about this paradigm shift. It was basically the opportunity that those who hate this world had waited for. So now NASA controls the earth and the minds of the majority of people by promoting the Big Bang Theory and the Copernican myth. I mean, science is based 100% on the religion of evolution. And they can manipulate the media, as they do daily, with their stupid dumb pictures and their dumb discoveries, and through the indoctrination of kids, from kindergarten all the way up through graduate level college. It is sad, but it is true. So, listen to everything you can, listen to everyone you can, read everything you can, and put it all through your filter. And the only person you should be able to trust is yourself. You can choose that way, or you can choose to trust others. All I'll tell you is choose very carefully. Choose wisely. You can pick the side that is furious that any of us are doing any kind of testing or questioning their dogma, choosing evolution and the vastness of space, the Big Bang Theory, and believing that this is a photo of Pluto that is 3 billion miles away. Or you can believe in the beauty and splendor of the world, and the miracle that is life, and the truth that is in your sight, and the truth that is in your mind, and the adoration of creation. So, the choice is all yours. In this video, I wanted to talk a bit more about the scientific bullshit that we are fed, and then we're going to talk a little bit about curvature. And from there, I want to update you on our laser test and show you a new little toy I have. And lastly, we'll talk a little bit about a possible collaboration weather balloon experiment and see if anybody's interested in doing that. We also can make fun of Pluto's pictures and NASA's bullshit excuse for another picture of Earth. Now we have two. Wow, thanks NASA. $1 trillion for 2 pictures. I'd say they made out pretty good. You can see on the screen here, this is another wonderful picture from New Horizons. Pluto and its little moon, or big moon, which just looks exactly like our moon. Guess they're over being creative at this point. But next you'll see what happens when you search Google for Pluto. And you can see that all these planets before, you can see they were really close. Basically, it was a sphere, and that's it. They've had every other color. It could have been blue, could have been green, could have been yellow. Let's watch these losers as they got to see Pluto. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'll be on in a minute. You could watch some hilarity about Pluto. Sorry. Throughout the world and throughout the country. The countries are small, the world's a little bit bigger, Pluto's way out yonder, and the New Horizons spacecraft is somewhere in Russia in a little warehouse. Can you not be proud of humanity today? That brings us to the comment of the week. Yes, this week the honors go to Super Sweet Joe, who said, someone help me out here. How would anything be able to move at all without gravity? I mean, we need gravity, right? Gravity? What would we do without it? Now let's watch a science celebration. Hey, how about this? For the first time in 43 years, NASA releases a second picture of the place you live. Thanks, NASA. You guys are awesome. I want to be just like you and do absolutely nothing and put out crap CGI images and have everyone love me. Wouldn't that be fantastic? I don't know about you guys, but I expected photography to come a lot further along in 43 years. This looks like about the same exact quality. I still don't see a pear shape or a oblate spheroid. Somebody needs to tell NASA they're mucking up their second image ever. Yep, and here's another picture of the Earth. Yeah, I'm not kidding. They actually say this is a picture. No, I swear. No, I swear. They really say that's real. So I thought I'd give it a little Carl Sagan impression. There, in the distance, vulnerable, Earth. Hung from nothing, like a worthless speck. Like each of you, a product of evolution, random chance, worth nothing more than a caterpillar. You live, you die, meaningless, tiny, nothing. The great little speck is your home, your worthless, pathetic home. And now, these people suck. This is just a little opportunity I have to point out to you some companies or people that truly suck. Yeah, I'd like to introduce you to Romain Jerome. Oh, what a company, let me tell you. Romain Jerome specializes in watches and fine pens, other such great gifts. And they have one thing unique about most of their items. This here is a Moondust Hannibal Lecter Tourbillon watch. Yes, it goes for about $150,000 and includes Moondust. This here is a Moonfighter black metal fountain pen. It also contains Moondust, but it's only $1,848. If anybody spends money on this crap, they got problems. Here's another Moondust watch. Like I said, real cheap. $150,000. Head on over to Romain Jerome if you feel like bombing their facility. I mean, if you feel like buying a watch. Comes with a certificate of authenticity that says they certify that it's Moondust, so you know you can trust them. You know, Moondust came from the same place where Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong went. And if you notice something weird about this image, so did I. It's from National Geographic, but it looks like it's clear as can be that Earth is pasted right on top of the image. So, with the magic of Picasso, do a couple little moves of the dial, and voila. Nice job, NASA. Nice job, National Geographic. You and Romain Jerome suck. also wanted to throw a little history in. So I'm sure you guys will all be able to recognize who this is. Right? Of course you do. That is none other than Cristobal Colon. Not the name you recognize, I bet. Yeah, Cristobal Colon is certainly not worthy of a day of reverence or a holiday as he's given here in the United States. His name, Christopher, means Christ bearer, and often they tell us that his journals are lost, but you can still find them. Here's an entry from one of them. The Indians are so naive and so free with their possessions that no one who has witnessed them would believe it. When you ask for something they have, they never say no. To the contrary, they offer to share with anyone. They would make fine servants. With 50 men, we could subjugate all of them and make them do whatever we want. Cristobal Colon. Yep, in school they made sure they told us the important parts. Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492 and discovered America, and that he proved that the earth was a globe. They left out the other parts, like Columbus began rewarding his lieutenants with sex slaves, particularly young girls who had been forced into sexual slavery. In a letter to his friend, Columbus remarked upon how girls between the ages of 9 and 10 would be used as currency. 100 castellanos are easily obtained for a woman as far as a farm, and it is very general, and there are plenty of dealers who go about looking for girls. Those from 9 to 10 are now in demand. Cristobal Colon. So when Columbus returned to the New World, he made sure he was armed this time, and upon his arrival he demanded that the Lucayan people gave his men food and gold, and allowed them to have sex with their women. And when the Lucayan refused, Columbus responded by ordering that their ears and noses be cut off, so that the now disfigured offenders could return to their villages and serve as a warning to the others. Moral of this story is you'll start to see how the owners of this world are very careful about who they select as their heroes. Copernicus, Galileo, Cologne. Yep, all Freemasons. And you also notice that Christopher Columbus has his own holiday, while the presidents have to share a holiday. Does this seem like somebody that we should be celebrating every year? I think not. You'll see here I'm entering it into Google, Cristobal Colon, and you'll see that he comes right up. Let's look at a couple other little factoids. On his second trip to the New World, Columbus brought cannons and attack dogs, and if a native resisted slavery, he would cut off a nose or an ear, and if the slaves tried to escape, then he would burn them alive. Other times he sent attack dogs to hunt them down, and the dogs would tear off arms and legs. And if the Spaniards ran short of meat to feed the dogs, then the Arawak babies were killed for dog food. Columbus's acts of cruelty were so unspeakable, so legendary that even his own day, that Governor Francisco de Bodilla arrested Columbus and his two brothers and put them in chains and shipped them back to Spain to answer for their crimes. But the King and Queen of Spain, their treasury now filled up with the gold, pardoned Columbus and let him go free. Actually, one of Columbus's men, Bartholomew de las Casas, was so mortified by Columbus's brutal atrocities against the native people that he quit working for Columbus and became a Catholic priest. He described how the Spaniards under Columbus's command cut off the legs of children who ran from them to test the sharpness of their blades. According to de las Casas, the men had bets as to whom with one sweep of the sword could cut a person in half. He says that Columbus's men poured people full of boiling soap. In a single day, de las Casas was an eyewitness as the Spanish soldiers dismembered, beheaded, and raped 3,000 native people. Such inhumanities and barbarism were committed in my sight as no age can parallel, de las Casas wrote. My eyes have now seen these acts so foreign to human nature that now I tremble as I write. So, personally, I'm boycotting Columbus Day, and I hope you join me. While we're here, I wanted to do something I've asked you guys to do many times, just so you can see how much fun and joy it is. Let's head up to the menu at Huffington Post and select Science. Just for laughs, let's see what scientific discoveries or on our plate for today. There's always something new, always something exciting. And here we got to read about Earth's cousin. Yes, they found Earth 2.0. And according to NASA, they are located just a short 1,400 light years away from us. So if you ever wanted to figure out how long it would take to get to your cousin's house, you can do the math pretty quickly. I took it at 500 miles per hour. Is how fast our little spaceship flies. And that tells us that we can travel in one day about 12,000 miles. So if we traveled nonstop every day, every year, it would only take us 1.9 billion years to get there. You're free to believe that if you want. I, for one, tend to lean towards reality, so I probably won't believe it. But now let's see about this four-legged snake fossil. You know, personally, I cannot wait until I lose my arms and legs and just get to go around and crawl on my belly. I guess that's how evolution works. We lose our arms and legs and then we roll around on our scales. 2 points from that video. One, I really have a problem with anybody who says evolution. Two, I'll bet $100 that guy had his pants down underneath that table. The next little gem we get is famed physicist shuts down moon hoax theorists with a intellectual tweet. Well, let's see what he had to say. See how intellectual it was. Oh, it's our best friend Brian Cox. Aren't we all happy? He already told me I'm an idiot for not believing them. So let's see what kind of great tweet he sent. Brian Cox said, "I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you don't think Apollo 11 landed on moon, you are a colossal knob end and should get a new brain." How scientific is that? Also, by the way, just for those of you keeping score at home, he spelled knob, N-O-B, just for those of you who look up to scientists. And again, I'll say it again. If you don't think Apollo 11 landed on moon, you are a colossal knob end and should get a new brain. Then he was quickly backed up by everybody's favorite liar, Buzz Aldrin, who said, Professor Brian Cox is a pretty smart guy. Also, the Russians would have totally exposed it by now if we didn't land. Thanks, Buzz. You're always helpful. How many days you got left on that life of yours? I'm guessing you're getting pretty close. You know, now that I think about it, so wait. So if you don't think we went... You know, I think we did go... I don't want to be a knob end. Never mind, guys. We did go to the moon. Apollo 11, 12. 13 didn't quite make it. They had a little accident. Came back. 14, 15, 16, and 17 all went to the moon. There's great footage on nasa.gov. If you guys have any questions, just email me. I'll tell you all about it. I got all the data. NASA accidentally lost some of the video footage, so I can't help you with that. But, you know, they're honest, so we can totally forgive them for that, right? And whatever you do, don't be a knobhead. Spelled N-O-B. So, now moving on to the Earth's curvature and proving it flat or spherical, one way or the other. One of the strange things that we've noticed lately, and a few people have emailed me, they noticed it as well, is that the water always rises up in the ocean from your feet to your eye level. And this is something that could only take place on a flat plane. And we will see some examples of that right now. You can look at these pictures. Here's one somebody sent me from Interstate 90, looking at Lake Erie. And that is pretty eerie. You'll see that water looms high over the freeway there. Actually looks like it's going to splash on top of you. Here's another one someone sent. Pretty incredible picture there. So if you think about it, no matter how high you get, the water must maintain with your eye level. Here it looks like it's coming into a hotel or apartment. If it were a sphere, it would be able to stay down low, and as you got higher, you would be able to see further past the curvature. But since it's a flat plane, that horizon line rises up with you. You'll see here a little video a person made that I'll actually show you one I made after, that shows the mirage that happens from the reflection of the sun, which is the reason we see this, like you see in front of you. Looks like a boat has gone over the edge, but really it's just a matter of many things. But I'll show you here with some movies I took. It looks like it could just be a mirage or a blur out factor, or reflection, or the fact that that water rises to your eye level. You can see here how I was just playing with my flat top table and little paper boat, and you can see the clear distortion at the bottom of the boat. And remember, this is obviously a much shorter distance, and also the table is not rising to my eye height, and there's no sun beating directly down on my table. But you can see here that actually by zooming in we can actually see more and more of this boat, and you'll see this line here is where it diffuses and breaks up. So that's really what you see with the water. When you look very carefully after you zoom in, you'll usually see a real, looks like there's a bunch of high waves. It's just a distorted, choppy mirage, a Fata Morgana, or something like that. See, this next one shows a good view of it. And this is the last little video I made here, just so you could see it again. Clearly there's that broken up line, the horizon line, the end of the table, clearly breaks up into a distorted image. Awesome video footage here. You can see that's from a plane 35,000 feet up watching a sunset. Looks pretty flat from here. So if any of you have ever seen that, the ocean appearing to rise up almost in a scary way, email me. Send me a picture. I'd love to see it. When we go to the beach this evening, hopefully we get to see something like that, and we'll take a nice picture for you or video. Last time, my wife and I were too scared to take any videos. We had never seen it look like that before. You see, this could not be any flatter. That is a pretty unbelievable video right there. Next, we're going to be looking at Dondra Lighthouse. This view is actually from the top of it. It actually takes a 360-degree turn. You can actually see all of it. And then we'll go to Wikipedia and I'll show you that Dondra Lighthouse is 150 feet tall. I also found out that it is about 20 feet above sea level. So at 170 feet, many reports, including Wikipedia, say that the range of that lighthouse is 32 miles. At 32 miles, the curvature of the Earth would block anything lower than 420 feet. So how are we seeing a 170-foot lighthouse? Well, because the Earth is not a ball. So, as I said, just this, and you can actually see off in the distance there, if you keep your eyes straight ahead, you'll see the flashing of the Dondra Lighthouse from quite a ways away. This is a little Earth curve calculator. I'll put it in the description for you. You'll see under eye height I'm putting 40 feet, which is quite a large boat. Target distance 32 miles. And the curvature comes out to 397 feet. And remember, the Dondra Lighthouse is 151 feet plus 20 miles. I'm sorry, plus 20 feet of elevation. So no reason that should be seen. Here's some more video footage of the flat ocean. So first thing you'll see here is a picture of the eclipse. So there's the Earth. You've got the sun on the right, the moon on the left. And if you think about it, and this might take a little bit of mental exercise, but I drew 3 people on the dark side of the Earth. And remember, when we have this eclipse, that both the sun and the moon are above the horizon, or thereabouts. How would the people on the dark side of the Earth be able to see the sun? You see, they can see the moon. They're on the dark side of the Earth looking up. But the sun would be on the bright side of the Earth. How can we see through the ball? We cannot. Therefore, Earth is not a globe. You'll see in this picture here, let's look first at letter A, and you'll see that the tilt of the Earth is pointed directly at the letter A, which we'll call the North Star. So remember that no matter what we do, all the time that pole is faced at letter A. So now start the journey around the sun. We can go towards letter B. You'll see we travel a total of 289 miles. That's just in 6 months. And after that, somehow, our pole, or our axis, is still pointed at letter A. Of course, that's impossible to draw because it's impossible in real life. Now you'll notice we can finish off the rotation, or finish off the orbit. And you can see we go a total of 578 million miles in 1 year. Again, impossible to imagine that we end up in the same spot. If you think of us just traveling in an orbit, you would say, oh, well, that makes sense. We clearly would go back to where we started, so it would make sense that our pole faces the same star again. But the problem with that is, of course, that during that time, while we're traveling a year orbit around the sun, we've also traveled 4 billion miles as we've journeyed with the sun while it's gone around the Milky Way. So there would be no way to ever keep the same sight with the stars that we see above our head. Okay, now you'll see I added a letter D, and you'll notice I colored the dark side of the Earth black. Now as we go through our orbit of the sun, you'll see we end up over at E, but now you'll notice that our dark side of the Earth is facing the sun. So how does that work? Well, nobody knows. See, by taking a 24-hour rotation around our axis, and taking exactly half a year to get to the other side of the sun, when is it that our Earth decided to turn around so that now our sun-facing side is facing the sun, as it was on the other side of the Earth? Well, it doesn't work because the Earth is not a globe. As we continue to finish off that orbit, you'll also see the little guy in yellow circled on his head. Letter D, I guess, shows him. You'll see above his head with the yellow lines up near A and down at the bottom of the screen. How do you see those same sets of stars on the other side of the Earth? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't work. Now this picture, same thing. It's a little easier to tell. You see the point in the sky. Usually you take a planet or a wandering star, and then you take the Earth on its 2 furthest places away from the sun, say January and July. And by looking at that and fixing a point in the background, or a fixed star, you see a clear difference. However, we don't see a difference because we don't travel around the sun. Simple, huh? So folks, it's time we teach the controversy. Get it out there. Tell a friend. Tell a buddy. Don't tell your boss because you'll probably get fired. But something is clearly afoot. It looks like it's pretty simple to see what's going on. And this is something that's been in the works for a long, long time. And the proof just keeps on coming. Will they ever admit it? Who knows? Luckily, we're going to be doing some tests. Hopefully tomorrow we will, if the weather is better than it is today. And we've got an opening. We're going to head on over to the beach. We have given up on the laser because we have something new and something that will be much better for our goal. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. First, I want to show you where we're actually shooting from so you can see what we're doing. And it's just a little 8-mile jaunt from Monterey to Marina. And it's 8 miles exactly. And you can test that. I'll actually give you the coordinates so you can test on that. And we've actually been out there before and actually already proven that it is able to be seen from 8 miles. But it was too dark to actually get any video footage. It was nighttime, so we're going to try and go out a little earlier tomorrow and actually get some good video footage. Good thing is that I'll bring up the calculator here in a second. The good thing is, being that we are measuring 8 miles with the camera at 6 feet on the camera side in Monterey, I'm actually going to be anywhere under 16 feet would not be able to be seen by the curvature of the Earth. So I can stand anywhere near the water, shine my light. If the camera sees me anywhere near the water, that's going to prove that there is no curvature in 8 feet. And then we move on to bigger and better things. This is a little image just so you can see what it looks like from both of our perspectives. You'll see the pink arrow on the top is what my wife, or the camera side, sees from her perspective. On the bottom of the screen, you'll see from my perspective, the pink arrow on the left is where the camera will be. So you'll see me punching in here from the height of 6 feet and the target distance of 8 miles. That anything below 16 feet should be out of sight behind the curvature of the Earth. We shall find out tomorrow with my super cool new little tool. The problem with the laser was that we had a hard time getting it across long distances. The beam would usually break up a little bit too wide. And also it was hard to be seen from distances like 8 miles. We actually had an easier time seeing a flashlight, which gave us the idea of getting a portable sun. No, it's a flashlight, 6,800 lumens, which will blind you. It's pretty awesome. Here's a video of me playing with it. Trying not to break my camera or anything, but you'll see it's got a couple different modes. I'll turn it on here on light on low. You can actually flip through it and get it to, there's a medium. You'll see this is actually daytime in my house. You see the light outside, so that's a pretty strong light to be showing like that in the living room during the daytime. Now we're going to pop it onto high. You'll see high lights up the whole room. Kind of show you around here just so you can see how easy it is to see. Lights up the whole kitchen. And there is actually a super power mode which turns it on to 6,800 lumens, which I flip on here in a second. There it is. And that light is just blinding, even bouncing off the wall. So with that light, we'll be able to shine it in our little black box, if you've seen that before from our last attempt. And that should light up that box as like a glowing star. If you get a telescope and look at it, it might look spherical. You can call it a planet if you want. You can land there and take pictures of it. Or not, or just call it a flashlight. So you'll see it's pretty awesome. It is, like I said, 6,800 lumens. I think it's a no-doubter in the bag. Don't pay attention to the dust in the house. That's actually, we just got done dusting, so it's just in the air. Last but not least, we have an emailer that had a pretty good idea, so I said I would pass it along and see what people think. He was thinking that we should come up with some sort of collaboration where many people decide to launch a weather balloon with a video camera on the same day at the exact same time. So what would be awesome is we could do it on a full moon, where half the Earth is obviously at night, half during the day. We would schedule it so that we all launched at the exact same time. What that would do is kind of give us a unique perspective of what everybody sees, and at the same time could prove some things. For instance, if from the day side of the Earth somebody sees the moon, or we all see the moon, or if somebody from the night side of the Earth sees the sun, those kind of things would prove a flat Earth. So I'm asking if anybody is interested. You can see the map in front of you. It kind of gives an idea of what we would want. If we had another person in the United States that was interested, somebody in Canada, somebody in South America, possibly Hawaii, somebody in Africa, somebody in Europe, somebody in Australia, somebody in China or Japan and Russia, so say, 8 people or so, I think we'd get a really good experiment out of it. Now, the cost is probably going to be just a real ballpark kind of guesstimate we have is about $400. That's running $100 for a weather balloon, which you could probably get one cheaper. That's running $100 for a GPS tracker, and about $150 for a video camera. So we added an extra $50 just in case or because. But that also could go down. We haven't looked into it at all because we don't know if anybody's interested. If we start to see that people are, then we can start looking at some prices and looking at some people who have done it before and see what price we can get it down to. But first things first, please email me, Jaronism@Yahoo, and just let me know where you're at and that you're interested and open to try that or to do that experiment. And that would be really cool if we could all get together and collaborate on something like that would really give us a unique perspective of the entire world at the same time. So I believe that's it as far as that goes, and that's it for my video today. So this has been Jaronism again, reminding you to treat each other kindly and better than you would treat yourself, and don't lie to each other, and remember to open your mind because there's truth inside. Till next time, stay flat. Peace.